Earlier this year, Mario Andretti, the 1978 Formula One champion, announced his intention to enter the Formula One Championship as the 11th team on the grid, beginning in 2024. And despite meeting all FIA requirements, the American appears to be facing opposition from some of the other teams on the grid, with Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff leading the charge against having an American-based team on the grid. Nonetheless, Andretti has now responded to the Mercedes boss. What did Andretti say to Toto Wolff? What does the other F1 team owner think of the newcomer? Former IndyCar champion Mario Andretti has been taken aback by how difficult it was to get his team approved to join Formula One. Michael Andretti submitted an application to the FIA for an introduction of a new team called Andretti Global 6 months ago. The Italian-American explained that he had spoken with the F1 team principals to discuss their thoughts on his team joining the grid, and according to Andretti, talks were going well. Even Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff confirmed that they had spoken twice on the phone. However, Andretti later explained that the situation abruptly changed and that he was unaware of where the major opposition was coming from at the time. When you've agreed on one thing, the situation suddenly changes. It's not very clear where the real resistance is, but I would say it's probably with the teams or with Liberty Media, Andretti said. However, recent developments indicate that Toto Wolff was the one leading the resistance, much to the dismay of the 12-time Grand Prix winner. The Mercedes boss, who had initially supported Audi, who was also contending for a Formula One spot, explained his reasons for opposing the Andretti team by stating that he does not believe the American team can increase the value of Formula One. "I think whoever joins as an 11th team, whoever gets an entry, needs to demonstrate how accretive they can be for the business. Andretti is a great name. They have done exceptional things in the US, but this is sport and this is business. We need to understand what it is you can provide to the sport, and if an OEM or multinational group joins Formula One and can demonstrate they are going to spend X amount of dollars in activating, in marketing, and in various markets, that is obviously a totally different value proposition for all the other teams. We have 10 franchises that we hope can increase the value, and you are certainly not going to increase the value by issuing new franchises to people who cannot increase the overall value of Formula One." Wolff went on to say that F1 is not just a sport, but also an expensive business, and that the Andretti team being able to pay the $200 million anti-dilution fee required to join the F1 that would be distributed to the existing team to compensate them is still insufficient because the prize money is already diluted. And as a result, he is unsure about how the FIA plans to compensate the 10 teams in F1 for their potential loss of income. "We are the absolute pinnacle. This is like the Champions League or the NFL, and redistributing franchises isn't the goal. That's not how it should be. But we have 10 entries today and we divide the prize fund amongst those 10 entries. We've invested considerable amounts over the last 10 years. Each of the organisations that's sitting here on the podium has probably put more than $1 billion into their Formula One projects over the years, so it needs to be accretive. If a team comes in, how can you demonstrate that you're bringing in more money than it's actually costing? Because an 11th team means a 10% dilution for everybody else. The value of F1 is that it's a limited amount of franchises, and we don't want to dilute that value by just adding teams," said Wolff. Nonetheless, Andretti has now responded to the Silver Arrow's boss, going so far as to respond to a tweet asking if Toto Wolff is too powerful for F1, after it was revealed that Wolff owns 1/3 of the British racing team. The 1978 champion went on to say that he finds Wolff's public criticism to be disrespectful and uncanny, because when he and the Mercedes boss spoke, Wolff did not express his displeasure at all. "Toto Wolff spoke very openly about our credibility. However, he speaks to me in a different way to that. I find the public criticism very disrespectful, because we've been active in motorsport for much longer than he has. I respect his success so far, but he has no reason to look down on us," Andretti said. Also, regarding the Mercedes boss's support for Audi, Andretti stated that he shares Wolff's sentiment, but unlike his team, he does not see Audi as a startup team, and in his opinion, he sees Audi merging with a top team as an engine supplier rather than as a racing team in the near future. "You can better justify the investment because as an engine supplier with any team, you win races. The engine wins. When you don't win races, it's the team's fault. You absolutely welcome manufacturers, but the manufacturers come and go. We don't come and go. We come and stay. Manufacturers don't depend on the sport. We do. It's our life. That's all we do. We breathe this. Why deprive us from it? We're serious about it. He, Michael Andretti, has fabulous backing, people that are serious and capable. Everything is for the long term, Andretti said. The Italian-American former driver went on to say that while he was disgusted with how much say the F1 teams have, he understands that the team would want more than the $200 million anti-dilution fee, given that the FIA's new budget cap has left the teams with a limited amount to spend. But at the moment, he's still waiting for their feedback, which he considers unreasonable and disrespectful. He also stated that he is perplexed by Wolff's concern about the value they bring to Formula One, as that should be their concern rather than his. They always ask us how we want to be competitive. I say, let that be our problem. You don't know our preparations. We don't have to hire any new people. We have experienced people who have the necessary knowledge. On the financial side, we have credible partners who are aware of the size of the project. We've been planning our program for a long time because it's all we want. We deserve more respect, Andretti said. Regardless, Michael Andretti, son of former F1 champion, accused F1 of being a European club, while his father Mario also labelled Haas owner and American businessman Gene Haas, who joined F1 in 2016, not a 100% driver. This statement from both father and son stems from the fact that the majority of the teams on the grid are European-based, and even Haas, which claims to be American and has its headquarters in North Carolina, has no American driver and even uses a car built in Italy by Dallara, while Williams Racing Team, which is owned by US-based private investment firm Doralton Capital, is, by the way, based in England. And according to Andretti, he plans to enter the American market by doing what no one else on the grid is doing right now, having an entirely American team with American drivers, an American-built car, and also developing American drivers for the future. Nevertheless, Alfa Romeo team principal Frederic Vasseur has responded to Andretti's plans by saying that the appeal of having an American-centric team on the grid is not a compelling argument to allow Andretti to join F1 as the 11th team, given that the Netherlands, which is one of the biggest markets for F1, does not even have a team, but instead a Dutch driver on the grid. Vasseur also explained why he's reluctant to back the Andretti racing team, stating that he agrees with Toto Wolff's argument that the team would not add value to F1, because they would be doing exactly what the other teams on the grid are doing, which, unlike Porsche, that is also attempting to join F1 that is capable of being an engine supplier to an existing F1 team. When we spoke about the 11th team, it was 3 years ago. We took the example of Porsche and said, okay, imagine if you have someone like Porsche that wants to join F1 and wants to do it on their own, does it make sense for us to open the door? And in this case, you say, yes, for sure, because it would add huge value to the paddock. It would be another engine manufacturer, and don't forget that at this stage, we were at risk. So that's why we started saying we could open the door. I don't want to speak about Andretti because it's not personal, but to add another team doing the same things as others with no big added value, I'm not sure it makes sense today, Vasseur said. Nonetheless, both Alpine and McLaren racing teams have expressed their support for having the Andretti team in Formula One, as both teams' bosses stated that the team being based in the United States would help grow the sport in the United States and open more opportunities to get more young talented drivers into Formula One. Regardless, Mario Andretti, who also owns an IndyCar team, a Formula E team and an Extreme E team, is not relenting on his ambition to own a Formula One racing team, after previous attempts to purchase Haas and Alfa Romeo failed. And regardless of the opposition, he says they're not giving up because he believes they deserve to be on the grid, and he hopes they can join Formula One as soon as possible, ahead of the 2026 engine rules, which could see Audi and Porsche join F1. So what are your thoughts on Andretti Global Racing becoming the 11th team on the grid in 2024? Do you believe the addition of teams to F1 is beneficial to the sport? Do you believe Toto Wolff is right in his opposition to the Andretti Global Racing team? Let us know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, the next video on your screen is worth your time.